Over the weekend, my friends and I packed our bags and headed out to Big Bear together for a few days of fun and relaxation. We loaded the car with tons of food, board games, and snow gear and made our way to the cabin. The weather was nice and we didn't need snow chains, which was a great relief. I had never traveled with this exact group of people before, so I wondered what our dynamic was going to be like. Whether it was going to be smooth sailing the entire way, or would we step on each other's foot accidentally? And if so, what would those hiccups be? It turns out that we had quite a lot in common. We all loved home-cooked comfort food, Monopoly Deal, the movie Elf, and winter sports. But more than just the hobbies and interests that we shared, I realized how precious it was to have a God-loving community of friends who I can support and serve, and who can support and love me back. They celebrate my victories with me, cook with me, cry, laugh, and mourn with me, and they pray for me, teach me how to be softer and more considerate just by modeling it for me, and they show me what it looks like to accept one another, flaws and all. I remember there was a time when I distrusted and disliked humanity in general. During that time, I isolated myself from people and questioned everyone's motives. I couldn't get close to anyone without becoming excessively controlling or paranoid. In my heart of hearts, I just didn't want to get hurt. I was in survival mode all the time. My walls were sky high, and I felt like anyone who got too close had the potential to hurt me tremendously. So I micromanaged my personal relationships, always hyper-skeptical of those closest to me, bracing myself for them to hurt me anytime. On one hand, I wanted the approval of others, so I strived to make people like me. But on the other hand, I was fearful and distrusting of people, so I didn't want them to get too close. It's quite similar to the plot of the movie The Greatest Showman. Ginny insisted that we watch this movie on the Big Bear trip, and even though it was midnight and I was already quite sleepy and delirious, I still got a lot out of it. The movie was an idealized portrayal of P.T. Barnum, the iconic and problematic founder of the Barnum and Bailey Circus. Some might call it a rags to riches story, or the American dream, or conquering the imposter syndrome. But to me, it was a story about filling a void. Phineas Barnum, on screen and in real life, was a restless man. He spent money he didn't have to buy things he didn't need to impress people he didn't even like. And he kept striving for more and more sensation, no matter what it took, be it fraud, animal cruelty, or blatant racism. There was a point in the movie where this bottomless desire for more was called out in a powerful song called Never Enough. It goes, "All the shine of 1,000 spotlights, all the stars that we steal from the night sky will never be enough, never be enough. Towers of gold are still too little. These hands could hold the world, but it'll never be enough for me, never, never." It immediately took me back to my previous headspace prior to knowing God. Everything I did was out of fear of rejection, abandonment, and betrayal. I operated as though I had to be ready for battle at all times, ready to strive for the next big accomplishment, to command the admiration, respect, and love from the people I was fearful of. I couldn't let myself be at rest. Nothing was ever enough to fulfill me, let alone make me feel safe enough to live out of a place of security and rest. The foil character to Barnum in the movie was his wife, Charity. She was already content with her little family, even though they started off not being too rich or well-known. She realized that through the tough times, they still had each other. While Barnum's mind was set on pursuing success and achieving the admiration and acceptance of others, Charity was able to look at the blessings before her and say, "I wish for happiness like this forever." And I can't think of a better passage in the Bible that mimics this mindset, quite like Psalm 23. I'd love to read it to you if you want to sit back into your chair and relax your shoulders a bit. Think of this next portion as a moment of self-care. Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. I have all that I need. He lets me rest in green meadows. He leads me beside peaceful streams. He renews my strength. He guides me along right paths, bringing honor to His name. Even when I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid, for you are close beside me. Your rod and your staff protect and comfort me. You prepare a feast for me in the presence of my enemies. You honor me by anointing my head with oil. My cup overflows with blessings. Surely your goodness and unfailing love will pursue me all the days of my life, and I will live in the house of the Lord forever. Prior to knowing God, I was like a sheep without a shepherd. I felt lost, restless, empty, and wounded. Sheep can't lie down until they know that they're safe and provided for. And just like the passage stated, God lets me rest beside green meadows, and He guides me along the right paths. With Him, I have all that I need. So there's no sense in striving to be accepted by others anymore. I am already accepted by my Creator. There's no sense in being fearful of others and paranoid of getting hurt. I am already healed. I am safe. With God as your shepherd, you are safe. Stop striving, just rest. You are protected and comforted. You can freely join the flock again, the community of God. joy of having this supportive community far outweighs any relational hiccups. We've all got quirks and baggage. We all have trauma from the past that influence our present decisions. But my prayer is that you'll experience healing and wholeness, making friendships out of a desire to love and be loved, rather than erecting walls out of fear. And I also pray that you'll be secure enough in the Lord to find joy in the everyday blessings, and like Charity, proclaim, "I wish for happiness like this forever."